Welcome to the Groomer next door. You're listening to my mommy and daddy.
And now our feature presentation.
Alright, we need to make sure we give a shout out to Squarespace. Squarespace is an amazing website that has helped us set up our website.
It has been the easiest transition to build your own website. It took me all of 3 days, and that's not 3 days of pulling out my hair. It's 3 days of probably 2-3 hours at most per day.
It was easy to write in bios, to add pictures. It's a great website, and thanks to them, since we are nonprofit and we're trying to spread word about proper health of pets, they sponsor us. So we want to make sure everybody knows, if you want to go and set up a web page for family, for business, for just fun and games, visit Squarespace first.
Yep, go to squarespace.com, go for the 14-day trial. I guarantee by the 4th day of having your trial, you'll actually sign up. And it's a simple $7.99 a month. I mean, really, it's the same price as Netflix until Netflix goes up on their price in a couple days.
Exactly.
So, anyway, if you want to take a look at our page, we're the groomer.nextdoor.squarespace.com. You'll kind of get a good idea of what we've done. Take a look at our photos, as Sarah mentioned, our blog, and upcoming events. Again, that's squarespace.com. 27 of the Groomer Next Door. I'm your co-host, Chris Green. Sitting next to me, as always, is Sarah.
Hello.
And as we have our other little special person here, Claire.
Hi.
All right. So, anyways, we're going to talk about food today. Would you like to? You're gonna pretty much take this. Sarah is a whiz when it comes to dog food. She's really a whiz when it comes to all this. That's why this whole show is predicated on her. I just pretty much put it together.
Well, dog food has changed so much from 20 years ago. There's a bunch of different types of food. There's different ways of producing the food, different meats to use for the food. Everything has gotten kind of crazy. People don't know what to do. They think this food's supposed to be the best, that food's supposed to be the best, raw diet's supposed to be the best, it's supposed to take them back to their natural habitat. Folks, dogs are domesticated. They stem from certain other dogs. They stem from wolves or dingoes. We learned at the show the last time I went to, some dogs are stemmed from dingoes. So every dog out there is not naturally meant to be out in the wild.
Yeah, and
they're more domesticated, and the rabid dogs, or the dogs who are loose wandering the streets trying to eat whatever they can find, well, yeah, that is more of a raw diet mixed with a bunch of garbage that is thrown out from humans. But everybody has their own way of looking at it, which is fine. My way is not the only way. But there are a few things that, as we're looking through and doing research, that backs up what we've been saying the entire time.
Right. And we'll play an audio a little later. But, as Sarah said, dogs are they've been bred over and over and over, and they're not really supposed to eat raw food. I mean, I know we are living in a new age type of world, and the whole gluten-free and all of this eating healthy, and that is all fine, and it works to some degree, but the raw diet is not exactly the right diet, I don't think. It does seem a little odd. I think you're actually adding more problems to your pet if you do it than if you actually just feed them real quality dog food.
Exactly. People think that they're losing out on nutrition if they don't do a raw diet. Raw diet meaning that you go to the store, you buy the meat, and you feed it to them raw. They do not cook it. They do not do anything to it. They just throw them some raw food. A lot of times people use barley or different types of corn which we all know corn isn't very good. But when mixing the raw diet, it is extremely important to be careful. I've said this from the very beginning. You don't want to give a puppy or a young dog raw diet due to the fact that the raw meat could have so many issues. There's a reason why humans don't eat raw meat.
And sushi does not count.
Yeah. Even at that, there's still people that get heavily sick off of raw fish. Sushi, sashimi, both of those, they can make people sick too.
I just think of wasabi.
That's it.
I know it's a dipping sauce, but I just want to say it. I don't know, wasabi.
It reminds me of that one scene in Cars 2.
Oh,
where
yeah.
Tomater takes a big old lick of this wasabi, thinking that was green or mint ice cream or something like
Your
that.
mint ice cream went bad.
Anywho, so you get the raw meat. It's going to have bacteria in it, especially if it's not kept at a certain temperature. If it was cut or harvested or slaughtered, I guess you can say, too far long ago, because meat goes bad.
And this is even if you have your own farm and you slaughter your own animals. It's still not really a good idea. I don't see any facts that show that it's a good idea. And we actually did some research before we actually recorded this episode. There is no facts that are showing that raw food is good. Now, I know I've heard this discussion on a lot of different websites I've been on, where I talk on different ones. And I think you have too, where a lot of people with bigger dogs, like the Husky, the Akita, the German Shepherd, they like to actually feed their dogs raw food.
Yeah, they do. It's quite often that I hear this. I don't see the point. I'm sorry, but if you're feeding a raw diet so you can flaunt to everybody, oh my gosh, I work so hard to make sure my dog has the best nutrition possible, and they want the attention for doing it. I'm sorry, folks. If you become an attention hog, I don't want anything to do with it. I've known people who fed raw diet because they wanted people to think that they're doing all the best things possible. They're spending a ton of money to pay for this raw meat, whether it's steak or pieces of chicken. They're spending a grip load because that's every day. And then you cannot buy too much raw meat at once because, like I said, it goes bad. So, yeah, some people freeze it. Well, I'm sorry, do you really want to eat something that's been frozen and thawed and raw? I wouldn't.
Well, you also have to deal with a lot of bacteria that are on the meat. On chicken, you can have salmonella.
Yeah.
Which there's so many different things that could go wrong.
So this one person kept talking about how she was such a good dog owner and she doesn't feed anything but the best and it has to be raw this, raw that. I rolled my eyes at the lady, turned around and walked away mid conversation. I can't handle that. I know other people who like to physically cook their dog's meals. That I can see being a little more reasoning for it.
At least you know everything of what your pet's food is going through.
Sometimes the dog is so highly sensitive to things, they need a specific diet.
Right.
And sometimes the cooked stuff that is prepared at home is the best for that particular dog. I know we have a boarding customer that comes in that they have to cook the meals ahead of time, bag them up, because the dog will get sick on anything else. That's very unfortunate, but also it doesn't happen all the time. But you have to make sure the dog's getting all the vitamins. They make sure the dog's taking flaxseed. Make sure they got fish oil. So everything starts working together and the dog doesn't end up constipated or too high of a protein and get sick. When you start doing the cooking at home, it could be a very big hassle. I tried to do it with our rescue Belle because she wouldn't eat anything else. You know, she was out on the streets for who knows how long. She never had to eat dog food. She only had to deal with whatever she could find.
Yeah, it took a while.
It took about 2 weeks. I had to cook her food and mash her food up for 2 weeks. And then one time I started putting more dog food in. A little bit here, a little bit there. And now she has gotten to full dry dog food.
Which I don't think she actually knew what dog food was before.
I don't think so either.
She seemed like she was loved for a time. I mean, I'm thinking she was because she's got such a good heart. But here's a dog that strives for love, strives for attention, but did not know how to almost live in a house, walk on a leash, eat dog food, etc.
I mean, we feed her Nutrisource Heartland Select. And the Heartland means that the meat that's in it is bison. I am a firm believer in bison. Bison is less, it's more hypoallergenic than other meats. Some dogs, believe it or not, can be allergic to meats. Most dog foods, when cooking, they take a lot of fat from chicken, or they use multiple meat sources to bind it all together and for it to all work. Most dogs are perfectly fine with that. But when you get down to the dogs that are allergic to that particular meat, bison is most of the time the dogs aren't allergic to bison. That's one thing that's so great about Pure Vita. They have a single meat source food that will definitely help cut down on allergies to meat. It's also not grain-free, wheat, corn, and soy-free and such. But our Akita and our Lab Pit Bull mix, they eat Pro Pack Unlimited. Unlimited. I'm sorry, I forgot it's a new labeling, but it's provided by Pro Pack, and it's not the best of the best of the best food. It's better than anything you can get at the store. Anything you get at the store. And almost better than anything you get at a pet store. I think our dog's doing great on it. Our Akita has a sensitive stomach. I haven't seen her throw up much. I mean, she's thrown up once in the past 2 weeks.
And that's because she likes to get into the cat food.
Yeah, we gotta fix that.
It's so hard. I mean, if anybody else, I know we have a lot of people who comment on us and send us messages. I've been trying to figure out a way of kind of putting the cat food somewhere that she can't, obviously where to hide the cat food. You actually might notice a little glitch there. We're still trying out so many different things, testing and new ideas. As I mentioned in the last podcast, we just started with a new mic. Now we're trying other new things just to kind of set the mic up so you don't have it on a computer, so you can do it on a different method. It's a lot of things that go on. So that's what I love about everybody that listens to the show is I know you guys have been with us. Whether it's just since the last couple days or from the beginning, so you kind of know we've been doing things.
We're trying.
Yeah, we're always trying here.
But what we're talking about is trying to get the cat food away from the dogs. That's actually a big issue with quite a few people. I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I just brought something up in my head. What to talk about?
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I mean, I'm even looking. I mean, this mic is picking up great, and I'm noticing that it has us on so sensitive right now. I'm watching it on my monitor.
Okay. Well, talking about keeping cat food away from dogs. I've had so many dogs come in that people are wondering, why is it that my dog's skin is so tore up but yet we're feeding them the best food. And I said, well, you got cats? Yes, we do. Well, I'm pretty sure your dog's getting into the cat food. Oh, that will have an effect? Yeah, it sure will. Cat food is formulated completely different than dog food. Cat food could, honest to goodness, hurt dogs in so many ways. So we try to make it to where the dog can't get to the cat food, meaning the cats can only fit in this one area. But we got some fat cats and they can't fit in that area either. So we're gonna have to bring in another table, make the cats work for it, and jump up onto the table.
Now, if we have anybody who has the same problem, please send us an email, thegroomernextdoor@yahoo.com. It would definitely be something I'd love to hear. I know we have some great cat people on our listener base. So yeah, give us a little bit of a holler on that, because that'd be great.
Let us know how you guys stop the dogs from eating the cat food. That'd be great. But to continue on to stuff like that, we do have a clip that will help explain that there really isn't anything out there suggesting raw diet is better for your dog versus dog food. I do want to say that Nutrisource is a brand of dog food that they take special ingredients that they cook into the food, that when it says on the package that your dog gets XYZ in nutrition from it, they get that nutrition. It's the way they cultivate and formulate everything. You can go to their website and read more about it. It's one of my favorite dog foods that we sell at Shadowwood. Like I said, we have 2 large dogs, and ProPack seems to be the best for them. But we also have Belle, which is an older dog who has a small mouth, and the Nutrisource has small kibbles. Now, small kibbles for a large dog is good too, because what that does, it means that it actually will help prevent bloat. So if your dog's not fully chewing the food because the kibble is so small, it's not going to be that bad. Make sure there's plenty of water and the food breaks up like it's supposed to. So anything else you want to say before we start the clip?
No, I think we'll go with that. Obviously we want to make sure to add, the reason why this clip comes in is it's a veterinarian, and we're gonna find a time. It's just we're at the hot part of the year where we're busy, so it's hard to actually get out to a veterinarian.
Oh my gosh.
We'll have an episode with a veterinarian who will discuss a lot more in a person, one-on-one, but definitely trying to get content to give you guys so that it's not just our opinion. We don't want our opinion to be the only opinion. We want it to be fact. So anyways, enjoy the clip.
The trend right now is all raw and organic foods. But are they the right choice for your pet? Are organic foods better for your pet? The answer is no. AFCO defines organic as the way foods are grown, harvested, and processed. There's no regulatory body about organic foods, and they've shown no beneficial effect to the pets being fed organic-only foods. This is a market-driven term, and a lot of people, unfortunately, are susceptible to it. What is a raw food diet? Raw food diets are any diet that is not cooked or sent through a processing plant so that it can be cooked, decontaminated, and packaged as such. They have raw meats. People will get these at grocery stores and make home-cooked preparations. There's also raw food diets that are freeze-dried. There's also raw food diets that are simply frozen, and then you thaw them out. So the important thing is to remember that raw food diets come in all shapes and sizes and different forms, but the most important thing to remember is they are not sent through a processing facility so that they are decontaminated and some parts rendered or removed fat consistencies and then packaged as such. A lot of people believe raw food diets are better than cooked diets for a variety of reasons. Some people feel that it helps correct one particular medical condition. Other people feel that the proteins and carbohydrates are more available to the dog. Other people feel that when you cook diets, it destroys a lot of the nutrients that are in the diet. Well, here's the truth. There are no studies that actually prove that raw food diets are any better for your dog or cat than cooked diets. In fact, there's a lot of studies that basically show that a lot of these diets can be dangerous and unhealthy. If your cat or dog is young or old or debilitated or has a chronic illness, raw foods can be especially dangerous because now, along with battling that chronic illness or being a little geriatric or pediatric, now they have to fight those organisms that are in raw food. About 20 to 25% of chicken carcasses that are harvested for this purpose actually contain salmonella. There's actually a couple studies that I read recently about 2 kitties who unfortunately passed away because they were so infected with salmonella, and it was directly attributable to the raw food diet.
Well, I hope that was as interesting for everybody as it was for us. Definitely some good information there. And if you actually do feed your dog raw meat, give us a message. Let us know, different things. It's
Like why?
yeah, why? Maybe you may have some information that's great.
That some people might not be aware of. Like I said, this is an open-end discussion on dog food. Some people think raw diet's great. Some people think that dry food only. Some people think can and dry food. Whatever it takes to keep your dog healthy is what we are mainly concerned about. All because, I don't care for raw diet. I don't see the purpose of it. I don't see the point of stressing yourself out to make sure you have the dog's diet ready. I know as a mother and a wife, I don't have time to make sure my dogs have the raw diet taken care of and make sure that there isn't any kind of bacteria, salmonella or whatnot, E. coli, is in the dog food. So I'd much rather make sure that the reputable dog manufacturers can handle it. I mean, yes, you'll come across dog food recalls. I know when I first started working at the big box pet store, we had a major food recall. Oh my goodness, I about died. We had to pull all these foods. We had to look at the expiration date. We had to look what ingredients was in it. And then we had to explain to customers why we didn't have their dog food. Back then, if I would have known more now, that knew what I knew now, then I could have changed them to a better dog food that we had there. But just keep up on the dog food recalls. Pick a company that hasn't had many. I know Nutrisource is very highly ranked, and they haven't had such issues.
Well, there's an actual brand that really just kind of intrigued me, and I know a lot of listeners, coming from California, we know the California mentality. And, the California mentality is, it borderlines hippie, and I mean, it's not a bad thing, but I like the Earthbound.
Yes, Earthbound product.
I'm actually, for a lot of you who don't know, I mean, this is a product that intrigued me on one thing. I mean, I like the bags. The bags are recyclable, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
But it also, what was it? You send 2 UPCs?
What it is that you go to their website, earthbound.com, and you get this specific address, right? If you have a large bag dog food, you cut out the UPC and you ship it to them and you send it to them by mail, they will plant 1 tree. And the smaller bag, the more UPCs you have to send in, but they will go and plant trees to help cut down on the gases that
the
are
carbon fiber footprint.
Exactly, and the greenhouse gases, and the trees soak up all the crap that gets pushed up in the air, and provides us with clean oxygen. So what's so great about this is that you just send them in, and they'll plant another tree somewhere, and they have a tally on how many they plant. That's pretty awesome.
I like that idea. Because obviously, I know Carrie, for example. She actually says she's a hippie, which I love the term. I still think it's cute. So it's one of those things when somebody can come out and go, "I'm a hippie."
One of my best friends was a hippie. She was so awesome. Tie-dye everywhere, one love, and just she was happy and so much fun to be around. When it came to politics, we had a little different point of view, but just her family was very healthy. She watched what they ate, and she ate chicken, but she wouldn't eat beef products, and she would eat fish, but there wasn't any kind of venison or veal or anything like that. But oh man, I loved her. I missed her so much. I haven't seen her in so many years. Oh my gosh.
It's funny because as I'm sitting here, I'm listening to you talk about that, and you know what's coming to mind today, besides the person beating up a bag right now. I hope you guys don't hear it, but you probably did.
Die bag, die.
I just keep thinking, this weekend was Godzilla's opening weekend, and did you know? I mean, I know I didn't mention this to Sarah. Did you know that worldwide it was accepted except for one place? Japan is absolutely unhappy with it, and it's because they said that we made Godzilla fat. Fat. Not PHAT. I'm talking about FAT. They said, look at his small head, his big round belly, and big hips and legs. He's fat. Americans only made Godzilla fat. I mean, folks, really?
If you look at the world personification or persona of Americans, Americans are fat. Americans are overweight. So it would be only natural that Godzilla is overweight. I mean, he's eating up human people, right?
He's
or
eating
Americans,
cities.
right?
He's eating, I mean, oh man. I was just like, I'm sorry. I know we're talking about food here. I mean, whoever's feeding Godzilla, they might not want to switch his actual plan, I guess.
Yeah, a little more lean meat. And lean
stop
food.
this. You know what? I'm not going to even say the raw diet. Not even going there. I'm sorry, folks. I had to actually mention that. I mean,
and remember, we are a little slap happy. We had one heck of a day.
Beat that bag again. Boy, another person beating the bag.
What did we do?
8 dogs, 5 in the morning.
5, 6, yeah, 8 dogs. So you washed 8 dogs. I groomed 8 dogs. And, if you didn't wash those dogs, I don't think I can groom all of them because they weren't small.
They were not small. No. No.
Oh, man. We did get an opportunity to groom a little puppy.
Oh, that puppy was awesome.
Oh, this little puppy's so cute. His name's Oliver.
First ever groom, right?
Yeah, he was a Shih Tzu. First time being groomed. I want to say about 5 to 6 months. He's still real floppy.
Oh, yeah.
He just kind of flops everywhere. And he's still in that excited lick and nibble point. So he kind of got my ear a couple times and my chin, and then got the middle part of your nose, that septum.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that hurt. But it was so awesome. I was bound and determined to make sure we can groom this puppy because he was boarded with us. Mama wanted to get the dog groomed, but we were so far booked out that I couldn't get him in. Well, it's a little puppy, and I wanted to make sure that this puppy gets started out on the right foot. And you take a puppy for its first groom, if it's not with a good groomer, the dog could have a terrible grooming life, or it's going to take a long time to break him of that habit. So you and I just kicked butt and we got that puppy in, and sure enough, we just made it absolute fun. Every time I got done doing something that was a little difficult for him to handle, I stopped and praised him.
He was so good. I took him out of the kennel, and it was kind of funny because, like you said, bounce, 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 happy, happy, lick, 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 of course. But I was expecting, obviously, never really had a bath before, so you never know what to expect. I mean, we get dogs that are 2, 3, 4 years old who hate water, which always surprises me, almost like a cat would. And he was just like, whatever, you know, it was great. I enjoyed, and then even drying, he was so good.
Well, see, if you bring puppies in as early as possible to get groomed, the better off the dog will be and more happy the groomer will be. Don't take the attitude, well, I pay you to do something, so I don't want to hear you complain about them. No. Come on, folks. It's not just the groomer that's unhappy here. It's also the dog. The dog freaked out because you didn't want to bring the dog in soon enough. You might think the dog looks cute just the way they are. You know, all this fuzz and fluff. You know, they're a puppy. They look so cute. Still bring them in, because you never know. There might be a ton of matting if you don't brush every day.
You also have one other thing that you could see that, you know, we would see that maybe you wouldn't see as a pet owner, and that is ticks.
Yep. Sometimes people can't see them. Sometimes they can. But also would be making sure their ears aren't infected and such. If you don't want your puppy fully cut, just say trim. Trim up their face if you still want them fluffy.
Yes, and the term, folks, puppy cut, no. No such thing.
Say puppy cut one more time.
There is no such thing as a puppy cut.
There is such thing as a puppy cut on a poodle, and it's a particular way. I'm not going to go into details, but there is a specific poodle puppy cut. But when you bring in a Shih Tzu and you want a puppy cut, well, to me, might mean different than someone else. But a puppy cut is one length, body, legs, and feet. So a number 7 shave summer cut can be a puppy cut. Body, legs, feet. So I am so done with the word puppy cut.
Oh, you know, and again, you know, it's a matter of articulating what you want in your groom. You know, I don't know if we've actually even mentioned how you need to really be articulate about what you want. Don't let somebody dictate what you're going to get. Make sure that your groom is exactly what you want.
Unless you just really don't care and you just want the dog, whatever the dog will turn out will be better than what it is now.
Right, and I mean, that's acceptable too, but if you're specific and you're like, you know, I want it to not be too long, discuss it with the groomer, because honestly, you may actually come back and there may be less fur on the dog than what you want, and then you're going to be upset, and then it's going to be like, maybe I should have said a little bit more. And it does happen, and it, you know, it's
Come in with pictures?
Yeah.
Now, to warn you about pictures, sometimes the picture that you bring in, the fur isn't the same. If you bring in a straight coated Yorkie, and the picture that you bring in is of a fluffy Yorkie, you're not going to get the same haircut. Vice versa. You know, if you bring in a picture of a Cocker Spaniel and you want your Maltese to look like that, it's not going to happen. So you want to make sure the picture looks just like your dog, but the style that you want it. And then you can go from there and pick and choose what you want from that photo. And then the groomer should be skilled enough to look at the photo and realize, okay, this dog hasn't been groomed for a while, so this length would be here. Or this dog was just groomed and it looks to be about here. The first time to a new groomer, realize that it might not be perfect. It might not be exactly what you want. So go home, write down on a piece of paper what you didn't like about it and what you did like. Take it to the groomer again the next time and say, hey, can we change this? Can we keep this? And you'll have a great relationship between your groomer and yourself.
And that's really what it all comes down to. I mean, isn't that what this whole podcast is all about? You know, and actually, I want to touch back. I didn't mention it because for some reason I probably just had ADD. I actually wanted to mention one last thing when it came down to food. A lot of people, including myself, would have always, especially before I got into this, I would have believed that, you know what, this food, $33 a bag, it's going to be more than if I actually bought normally what I would find at a box store, $20, $25. The truth is, it's actually, you spend less when you go for the big, you know, the good brand, because you're giving your dog less food. For example, with Roxy and Katana, they would eat more of a medium brand food than they are what we're feeding them now.
See, I thought when we first moved here, all we had to go to was Walmart. That was it. Well, I didn't realize at the time when we first moved here that Shadowwood had all this amazing food. So we were kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, feeding the best of the worst food. You know?
Yeah, it's that medium brand that just barely covers medium.
Exactly. Well, we spend, I want to say, maybe $15 a month more.
At most.
But we also we kind of make more here since the fact that we were so booked.
Oh my gosh.
But,
yeah.
$15 a month more. My Kita stuff's thrown up. My mix, who my father fed table scraps to her entire life, who is just chunky.
Not anymore. She actually lost a lot of the weight since she's been on good food.
Now she's lost weight. So this $15 extra a month has worked out for us. Now, one thing I saw that reminds me of a story. When we were walking around doing grocery shopping.
I was thinking about this. I wasn't going to mention it. It actually is the heart of how this episode came around.
Since this episode's kind of a test run on a few different things, I'm not sure how many minutes we're at.
I was thinking that too. I have no idea. I wasn't going to mention that either.
I'll try to make this a little quick here. But as we're walking through doing grocery shopping, I noticed in people's baskets a big bag of Old Roy. Now, I will say the name outright. Old Roy Gravy Train, terrible food. The Old Yeller food, terrible food. It's horrible, okay? So, as I kind of gander in their bag and I look and see, or their basket, not their bag, their basket, I see name brand soda.
It was 4 12-packs, if I'm not mistaken, or was it 24?
It was just a bunch of name brand sodas. It was name brand this, name brand that, and just a whole bunch of stuff that I'm like, you realize that the $20 that you just spent for your Old Roy, if you change your stuff to like store brand or the generic, that money you could be saving could go to a better dog food to help your dog live a happier life. You don't want to live on crap your entire life. I mean, you go and you get 2 99-cent cheeseburgers and try to live off of that for a month. See how you feel.
There's a documentary called Super Size Me.
Exactly, and the guy felt like he was dying. So, what you need to do is just change maybe a little bit of your spending. Maybe not name brand stuff every time. And it could really add up. The savings can add up, not just for your household if you don't have a dog, but it could go to a healthier pet, a happier pet, and just, the coat will change, it'll be prettier, softer, just all around amazing.
Well, your dog will bounce around too.
That's another thing what happened. When we switched Katana from the best of the worst food to the Pro Pack, she bounces more, she jumps, and Akitas,
like a bunny.
Exactly. Akitas are very notorious for extremely bad hips or having hip-related issues. Same thing with German Shepherd dogs and any large breed dog. Well, once we started feeding her this Pro Pack, she started bouncing, moving. Her agility was a lot more than what it was beforehand. I mean, just changing a better food can do so much for your dog. And for someone who keeps you in a comfort place, someone who shows you love, isn't it worth putting back that, $6 per case of Mountain Dew and get, Mountain Thunder?
Well, it's not even that. I'm thinking about that episode of King of the Hill. Of course, like always, cartoon with me, where Hank was fostering a cat. Remember the episode? He fostered a cat and had to take it to the vet. And the vet says to him, well, he would pay for it himself, but no job. And it's, it's kind of funny because it's true. It's like if your dog, your cat could actually afford to buy it themselves, I'm pretty sure they would actually probably pick a brand that probably would just cost a couple dollars more, but in the long run they would feel better. And you can keep them longer. Do you really want to, have your pet less time than what you could?
Another thing what you want to do too, if you have to take your dog to the vet because you're getting shots for the skin is torn left and right because of bad food, and the vet says, well, these shots aren't working, we're going to have to put your dog on a hypoallergenic food. Wait a second, go find a professional pet person, people who run kennels, dog groomers, people who are invested in dogs. Get a second opinion. I know this one lady with a dog named Jake. Jake's skin is tore up. Well, the veterinarian decided to put it on hypoallergenic food that has no flavoring. The texture is horrible. Well, we switched into Pure Vita. It works better than the hypo.
It does.
And what's great too is he likes the flavor. He actually eats the stuff. So take a time, get different opinions, and make your choice from there. Sorry guys, it's extremely noisy right now. All of a sudden everybody decides to talk like they're the only one in the room.
It's typically how it works here. Alright guys, well, episode 27 is going to come to a close. Find us on Facebook, Yahoo, send us a message, groomernextdoor@yahoo.com. Hope everybody enjoyed the episode. I'm Chris Green. Have a pup-tastic day.
And this is Sarah Green, making sure everybody understands life is short. Play with your pet.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, gotta go in my bedtime.